Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to Live a Live. When we last left off, we completed the near future chapter Flow. Today we're starting the science fiction chapter. Behold the transport ship Cogito Ergo Sum, en route to planet Earth. Inside, a new kind of life form is being created. The robot created by Kaito, the mechanic, will become intimately involved as events spiral out of control on board. So this is the science fiction chapter, Mechanical Heart. It is different than the rest of the game. There is almost no combat, and it's very thoughtful chapter comparatively. It has a lot in common with old science fiction horror movies. Alien, the first one, not the second one. Space Odyssey, the one with Hal. I think that's Space Odyssey, right? Anyway, that kind of claustrophobic experience where you're trapped in a small floating box in space, in a vacuum, and people around you are dying. It's so different from anything that Square Enix has made that this chapter really sticks in my mind when I think about this game. It's just... it's pretty light on gameplay, don't get me wrong, but it's just so interesting. I also like the fact that one of the things I like about this game is you have all these sprites in the same style, but you have all these different time periods per, like, so you see the very anime sprite of Akira versus the far future sprites of the characters here versus the cowboy sprite. So this is Mechanical Heart. And I don't know. They recently remade Romancing Saga 2 for Android and I think iOS. And I would love them to remake this game in that style. Because the anthology style of this game is just, like I said, it's like nothing that Square Enix has made. They don't really have anything else that like this. And you have to move there, by the way. I think the game expects you to get tired eventually. So this is Kaito. Kaito is Cube's creator. Well, he hasn't named him Cube yet, but his name's Cube. So, remember the name Rover. Forgive me, I'm taking a drink of Dr. Pepper. Remember the name Rover because later on, there's a game over situation where if you don't remember the name that he thought of first, you get a game over. And the first time I played through this chapter completely, I had started it. This is the chapter I started with during my failed first attempt with the game back on the previous patch. But the second when I actually completed the game, I was playing through it on my cell phone at work. I think I've mentioned before I have a lot of downtime sometimes at work, and I carry a lot of times I'll carry whatever game I'm currently playing through on my DS or my PSP. Not so much the PSP anymore, but still carry my 3DS. And I have also started playing, Super Nintendo games and NES games and stuff on my cell phone because you can get emulators on there. And I completed this game on my cell phone at work. I mean, we're talking like 15 minutes here. Sometimes I'll play on the toilet. Sometimes, like you can't rush people in my job sometimes. Like, I'll go to a place and there's offices and stuff. So no, we don't need to repeat that. You need the permission of the crew to get into the rooms. It makes perfect sense. So sometimes I'll go to an office and they'll have called they'll called in a ticket, a computer help ticket, and I'll go and have to sit there in a waiting room waiting for them to have time, because the responsible employees don't just stop working if they can help it because they need speakers, or some people do that, but I've had to sit there and wait in a waiting room before, so I just whip out my phone and play a game for 15-20 minutes. Not a big deal. A situation where, like, I don't have enough time to go anywhere else. I feel like I'm making myself sound bad by saying that I play video games at work, but, like, really, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's just sometimes I have downtime where I'm waiting on somebody, so I'll pull out my DS. And if you you could speak with the people, but they don't really say anything, so. I think this chapter has some of the most interesting secondary characters out of the main 7, because you have this situation where when you first wake everybody up, everybody looks like they're friends, but it turns out you got this kind of high school level frenemy situation going on, where Kaito's kind of not really in it. He's just quietly does his job, but you have the other 3 crew members who really, like I said, just high school level frenemies, where you have a pretty girl, a jock, and this other guy. Like I said. And while everybody looks friendly enough at first glance, like, cracks very quickly gets start showing in the interpersonal relationships of the ship. And then you have Corporal Darth down there, who is just kind of this extra element thrown into the situation. Ooh, my back is killing me. I miss being 20 years old, you guys. Like, I wish I had my current mind in a 20-year-old body. And I know that's like a common thing, but getting old sucks. I don't recommend it. Like, I'm only 32 and my back is killing me. I used to be able to go to sleep anytime, anywhere, in any circumstances. Once I got written up at school for going to sleep during gym while doing exercises. All right? That's how, like, much of a champion sleeper I was. Like, even to this day, I don't think taking a nap is a waste of time. But my back and my shoulder have just killed my ability to sleep. They'll wake me up in the middle of the night. It's a pain in the butt. That's okay, though. The things you get used to living with. So this chapter's not super long. It's not the shortest chapter by far. I would say it's a medium length. Whereas The 2 short chapters, the Wild West and the wrestling chapter, take about 30 minutes to do. 30 to 40 minutes. This one takes about an hour. Maybe a little more, depending. So we're supposed to go to the room here. Hopefully I don't get too lost in the ship. The ship is not overly complicated, but I'm kind of dumb, so... So this over here, one of the things I like to point out, by the way, is it's not something you really notice until you go into this room here, but there's no music on the in the ship. And that really contributes to like the oppressive feeling of this chapter, I feel. So this is Captain Square, and I'm not going to be doing Captain Square because it's but you get no Captain Square is a little there's no comment in this chapter except for Captain Square, and you don't play as Cube in Captain Square. You play as Captain Square, and you go through, I think, 9 stages. There's one for you start at the first planet and you end up at Pluto, and they get progressively harder, but there's no reward for doing it, and it's incredibly frustrating. The main reward is there's some really good music in Captain Square, and I do recommend that you actually look up the music for that they use in the Captain Square game. Like, is coffee not bitter? Like, coffee's bitter. Like, I think he doesn't understand what coffee is. No. And if you talk to him, he beats you up. Like, I sometimes I get the feeling that people who like coffee don't like coffee so much as they like the stuff they put into coffee plus the caffeine. In which case, just drink a energy drink. Although, to be fair, coffee is much cheaper than energy drinks per cup. Even like if you do like the Keurig stuff, it's still cheaper than an energy drink. So, that's fine. You just have to like that. Well, I don't know. Keurig machines are not cheap. Like, I don't get why people don't like, I got into an argument once with a guy. Like, I don't drink coffee, but there's 2 guys I work with. Actually, I work with 3 people. And recently, one of them bought his wife a Keurig machine. And the other guy was like, first of all, like, the 2 other, like, I'm a IT guy. Like, I fix computers directly. I go, you know, you have problems with your email, you have problems with your physical machine, you call me. These other 2 guys, they're network engineers. So, like, if you have a problem with the switches or the cabling in the ceiling or in the walls or whatever, you call them. And we happen to work in the same office. They put them in our office with us, so we've gotten to know him pretty well. But the guy that works with me directly, he bought his wife a Keurig machine. So he's telling you like where the different things are there. But anyway, and he was really excited, and the other guys were like, and you can play Captain Square if you want, but I might show off Captain Square later, but I doubt it. I cannot stand Captain Square. But so one of the guys, his first thing was, well, you know, the only correct way to drink coffee is black. I'm like, no, because coffee is disgusting. And the other guy was like, you know, railing on Keurig because it's much more expensive per cup to do, you know, the Keurig thing than it is like to make a pot of coffee and just put your creamer and all that stuff in. Where are we going? We got to go to the cockpit, right? Yeah. And coward disease. Kurt's kind of an asshole. I don't know if you've noticed that. But you can look at the consoles in here. He said, like, okay, why would you do Keurig? It's like $1 a cup of coffee. And I'm like, his wife bought Starbucks every day, and that's why he got her the Keurig, because she didn't want to sit down and make a cup of coffee and then drink. Because she only drank 1 cup of coffee a day, and you know, when he explained it to me, it made perfect sense. But this other guy's just railing on him for the waste money of Keurig. It's like, well, you know, you don't save any money if you drink 1 cup of coffee, and like, because you don't save that much money if you drink an entire cup of coffee and then throw it out the rest. So, which is what she was doing. In addition to that, he was like, I also like drinking. My friend, he does, well, my coworker, he's also kind of my friend, but he said, also, I really enjoy doing the cider and that you can put in the Keurig machine. And which is really funny because I had somebody else that said the same exact thing about the Keurig machine. This is the second time I had heard this exact conversation, minus the guy in the background screaming about how black coffee is the only way to drink the coffee. But just a funny little thing, I think. Probably not a very interesting story now that I have said it all out loud, but you know, whatever. So the Watanabe cameo in this is actually kind of low-key. You don't see Watanabe. And his son, but I'll just go ahead and point it out. If you examine Rachel's console, Watanabe is the communication array and the communication antenna, and then the sub antenna is supposed to be his son. So there's a problem with the main antenna here. So that's the Watanabe. It's very, very subtle. And it's actually probably my favorite Watanabe cameo in the game. Alright, so let's go to the airlock. Let's follow them. And the airlock is on the first floor. I'm trying to go through this as quickly as possible, while also showing you and talking to everything. Like, I expect this to take about an hour. So Cube the Peacemaker. So that right there is the main source of friction between the two of them. Let me move my microphone here. They both love Rachel. So that's neat. Like I said, high school level drama. Hopefully my microphone has still got a good sound quality going on here. I had to get comfortable. I feel it's very, very disconcerting to me for there not to be music. Just that hum of the engine. It makes the points in this chapter where there is music way more impactful, I think. You know, when you're playing, when you go in the room and you see Captain Square and the other time. Yep, that's why you will all be destroyed in the robot apocalypse. Okay, so if you examine this, you get sucked out into space. Oh no! And there's nothing you can do to prevent this. If you take the time to open both doors, it's a game over. And in the end, Cube never made it to Earth. Thankfully, though, I already had like a save that I made off screen. So anyway, you go back up to the cockpit. Go up to the cockpit. We'll speak to Rachel and Huey.